Sports, a place where many athletes find success.
This is likely the final play that matters. End zone wide open. What a night for Mike Williams.
But where there's a winner, there has to be a loser.
He came a long way. You hear me? Come here, I love you, bro. Good.
It's one thing to watch the game, but another to analyze it. Let's talk about the numbers. You ready? YouTube! What's going on, man? Back here giving another video. It's your boy, Numbers Fan Jay. And of course, you're here because we're going to talk about the AFC North for you today. But before we get into the topic, of course, if you're new, welcome to my channel. I'm here every Monday and or Thursday. I am Numbers Fan Jay. We talk about NFL football, NBA basketball, as well as the NCAA Men's March Madness Tournament. Now, before we get into this video, I do have a little bit of news that we have to go over. Starting off with the Chargers DB, Desmond King being traded to the Titans for the 6th round draft pick. Of course, the trade deadline has approached us, and all the trades have been processed, and every trade has been confirmed. Linebacker from 49ers, Quan Alexander, has been traded to the Saints for Kiko Alonso and a conditional 5th round pick. Also, third and finally, Avery Williamson, linebacker from the Jets, and a 2022 7th round draft pick has been traded to the Steelers for the 2022 5th round draft pick. So 3 big trades for you right there. Nothing really groundbreaking, but notable to say the least. So those trades, I'll leave you guys room to discuss those trades in the comments. Feel free to go ahead and voice your opinion down below. Let me know what you think about those 3 trades. Now, of course, going into it's Thursday, so I do have to discuss my pick for a Thursday game, even though that's not exactly what the topic is. I just want to go ahead and quickly give y'all my picks for tonight's game. Packers at 49ers. Packers are 5-2. 49ers are 4-4. Yes, the 49ers can run the ball. Okay, but the Vikings had a little bit more weapons than the 49ers do offensively. Also, they have their starting quarterback, which is a big piece in the NFL. And the reason why I can't pick the 49ers in this game. Furthermore, Jerick McKinnon is the only healthy running back on the 49ers roster right now in that running back room. Know that running back room is deep. He was supposed to be the starter last year as well as this year, but he only has 12 rushing attempts over the last 3 weeks combined. And that is not a good sign for a fantasy owner like me who thought Jerick McKinnon was going to have a breakout year. Very upsetting. But anyway, I'm going to have to pick the Packers on the road to get the win there on Thursday Night Football. 2 of the most storied franchises in the history of the NFL. It might be a good game, knowing that the Packers coaching can sometimes be questionable. For whatever reason, they start off hot and then they start to just melt down randomly. I don't get it. But anyway, going into the topic of this video, the AFC North. Now, starting at the bottom, we're checking in on the AFC North, letting you guys know what the AFC North is looking like right now, going into a little bit of analysis about each team. So starting off at the bottom with the Bengals, who we told y'all would be the cellar dwellers of this division for this year. Bengals are 2-5-1. They have a bye week this week. Offensively, they're okay. They're all right. They still have a lot of room for improvement on both sides of the ball, but offensively, they are okay. 12th in passing, Joe Burrow. Man, I'm just going to say this. This is the most exciting division to watch in football right now. The most exciting. And I say that because the NFC West is very close. They're right behind them. But the 49ers, with all their injuries and their bad quarterback play, not as exciting to watch as the AFC North. But anyway, Joe Burrow is the second most exciting player in this division outside of course, Lamar Jackson. This gives you a reason to tune in the Bengals games. Even though they have a bad record and you know most of the games they're going to lose. They're 24th in rushing and 20th in scoring. So like I said, a lot of room for improvement, especially offensively. I think they might need to look at drafting a running back. I've never been a Joe Mixon fan. Despite his surges last year and his kind of flashes this year and early parts of the year, I've never had my trust in Joe Mixon for whatever reason. But it can never hurt to give Joe Burrow some more weapons, right? They're talking about AJ Green might not be there too much longer. He's going to need more weapons. He has T. Higgins, but who else does he really have, right? Defensively, they're on the bottom side of the NFL. Bottom 11 in the more important categories: points allowed, passing yards allowed, rushing yards allowed. This team has a lot of room to improve, but this year they didn't have very high expectations anyway. The expectations just weren't that high. So it's good to see that Joe Burrow is playing well, but they do know where they have to draft this coming draft. So Bengals are just the Bengals. They're not contenders. They're not pretenders. They're just the Bengals. Moving on up, Browns. The Cleveland Browns are 5-3. They're going into their bye week this week. Are they pretenders? I think they might be pretenders. They have a winning record right now, but they haven't really played the greatest of schedules. Defensively, they're 27th in points allowed, 26 versus the pass. This defense does not scare anybody. Despite them getting after the quarterback, they do have a solid pass rush, but that's about it. The secondary needs a lot of work. Offensively, they're 27th in passing, despite them being 5th in rushing. One of the better rushing attacks in the league. Baker Mayfield is 29th in completion percentage, and that's just not going to get it done. You're going to have to pass the ball in the postseason, and you not being able to complete passes, it's not good. It's not good enough. It's just not, because somebody's going to figure out how to stop that rushing attack, right? But anyway, on to the number 2 team in the division right now, which is the Baltimore Ravens, which is kind of surprising. They're going on to play the Indianapolis Colts, 5-2, who are 6-0 versus the Ravens all time in Indianapolis. So that is very interesting right there. Should be a good game. But I do think the Ravens are contenders. The Ravens are contenders. Despite them being 31st in passing right now, and Lamar 30th in completion percentage, his passing just leaves a lot to be desired. But at the same time, this is still the number 1 rushing team in football at 178 yards per game on the ground. Defensively, they are also 2nd in points allowed. So there's no way you can really say that this team isn't a contender. But same problems that the Browns are having passing the football is a problem. And we've seen that versus the good teams that the Ravens have played, where Lamar has struggled. He's turned the ball over a lot, especially against good defenses. He has a lot more turnovers than you would desire. He has to learn to be a little bit less aggressive and kind of let the game come to him from the passing perspective. From the rushing perspective, against the great teams that are good against the run, you can't do it. You can't. You're going to have to pick and choose your spots when running the ball as a quarterback for Lamar Jackson. But hopefully he learns that. Hopefully he develops that passing aspect of his game, because he has the rushing part down pat. He can make anybody in the league miss. He can get the first downs when you need them. He can score when you need them. But you're going to have to pass the ball in the postseason. And that's why he hasn't won a playoff game. But anyway, so the Ravens are contenders. Are they Super Bowl champions? Very unlikely. But moving on to the Pittsburgh Steelers, who are at the top of the division. Still the only undefeated team left in the division right now. 7-0. And they're probably going to be 8-0 playing against the Dallas Cowboys this week with no quarterback on Dallas's side. So the Steelers are clearly contenders. They're undefeated. I mean, they're contenders. But this defense is missing Devin Bush, the second-year linebacker, one of the fastest linebackers in the NFL. Was quickly becoming one of the better linebackers in the NFL. But Devin Bush, he got hurt. So they went out and got Avery Williamson, like we said earlier in this video, to kind of plug a hole. Of course, Avery Williamson is not as good as Devin Bush, but he is serviceable. He is serviceable. He can get some things done. He's not a bad player. He was just on a bad team. So, but we'll have to see how he fits in the system. We don't know for sure that he's going to be good in his Pittsburgh system, but we know that Pittsburgh is good for developing linebackers. So, just want to throw that out there. The big question for me for the Steelers is, can Big Ben last throughout the season? He's clearly he's an older quarterback. The Steelers are 24th in passing right now. And that's not the same as the Ravens and the Browns being at the bottom of the league in passing, because their rushing attack is at the top of the league. The Steelers' rushing attack is not. They're kind of middle of the pack. Big Ben over the last 2 weeks has 5 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, but those 3 interceptions came in the same game as he threw those 3 touchdowns, and he had 2 touchdowns last week with no interceptions, which is much cleaner and really much. It fits the play style of the Steelers a lot more, right? You can't just turn the ball over and just prey on the defense. You have to be efficient with the opportunities that the defense presents you, because they're going to get turnovers. They're going to make the big stops, the big sacks. They're going to flip field position for you a lot of the time. All you have to do is at least get 3, which if you don't throw any interception, you give your team a better chance of doing it, right? But I don't know. I don't think that the Steelers have shown enough offensively to just say, yeah, they're gonna win the Super Bowl. Like, it's not sold for most people on the offensive side of the ball. Defensive side of the ball, we're gonna have to see how the rest of the season plays out without Devin Bush. But I do think their defense will be a lot better off under Mike Tomlin. He usually knows how to get their defense going. So, just want to say that. But that's the end of my analysis on the AFC North after 8 weeks of football. Leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Let me know what y'all think about the AFC North. Did you like the trades that we mentioned here? What do you think? Do you think the Steelers actually will win the Super Bowl? Do you think the Ravens can win the Super Bowl? Do you think the Browns will make the playoffs? Let me know in the comments, man. It's your boy Jay. We out of here.